Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. Hope you are doing well. It's a beautiful day. It's the middle of the week, the hump day, as we call it. And we are approaching the weekend pretty quick. And what a weekend it will be, right? It's Easter. We're celebrating the resurrection of Christ. And it's something that we're looking forward to. And this is in the raw, unpracticed, unedited, unscripted conversation. And this week we've been talking every day about Passion Week or Holy Week. And we're talking about what happened every day this last week of the life of Jesus here on earth. And today on Wednesday, we see that there's two different attitudes in what happened today. So let me dive into this. So Jesus goes to his friend's house in Bethany to hang out, basically, to fellowship and eat with them, and something very important happens at his friend's house. And this is the way John tells it. The book of John. Then Mary took about a pint of pure nard, an expensive perfume. She poured it on Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, who was later to betray him, objected. And he went on to say this. This is what Judas said. Why wasn't this perfume sold and the money given to the poor? It was worth a year's wages. He didn't say this because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. As a keeper of the money bag, he used to help himself to what was put into it. And Jesus says, leave her alone. It was intended that she should save this perfume for the day of my burial. You will always have the poor among you, but you will not always have me. The most pleasing act of worship to God is one that will cost us. King David said it this way, I will not offer to the Lord my God sacrifices that have cost me nothing. And so we can have two different attitudes when it comes to worship. Because this is a clear example of worship. You can say, I'll give God whatever's left over of my time, of my talent, of my treasure, or I will give God the best. It's up to us. Those are the two attitudes. And by the way, worship is not just what happens when we go to church. That's not worship. Worship is a way of life, how we live our lives. Worship is acknowledging that God is greater than us. And in everything we do, we acknowledge that. And we say, God, you're allowing this to happen. You're making this happen. That's what worship is, to acknowledge, to acknowledge that God is greater, that God is bigger than us, that God can do things that we can't do. Okay? And so when we acknowledge that, then we will give him our best time, our best talent, our best abilities, our best treasure, the most of our treasure, the most of the things that we possess, And so what is your attitude towards worship when you're in the presence of God? And we're in the presence of God always. If your worship doesn't cost you anything, then you might not have the correct attitude to please God. Because it's got to be something that will cost us, something that will provoke, something that will provoke sacrifice on our part. That's the worship that will be pleasing towards God. And God will take care of our lives when he sees that attitude in us. So just like Mary in this story, understood that it had to cost her, and she was willing to do that, and she happily did that, and she acknowledged Jesus in her presence. We need to do the same. And so I hope that you are able to understand, and you are able to work towards that if you're not there yet. All right. We will see you soon. Have a good and amazing day, a blessed day.